The Last Stand. Captain Sarah Chen gripped her rifle tighter as plasma fire rained down around the crumbling embassy walls. Through the smoke and chaos, she watched the crystalline spires of New Geneva burn against the orange sky of Proxima. The Peace Summit, humanity's first chance at joining the Galactic Council, had turned into a slaughterhouse in mere minutes. Status report. She barked into her comm, ducking as another explosion rocked the building's foundation. The response came broken and static-filled. Multiple hostiles. Diplomatic wing. Ambassador Ixtal is down. Sarah's blood ran cold. The Meridian ambassador was the key to humanity's acceptance into the Council. If Ixtal died on their watch, decades of careful diplomacy would crumble like the walls around them. Hold position, she ordered, already moving. I'm headed to the diplomatic wing. The embassy's corridors were a maze of debris and emergency lighting. Sarah navigated them from memory, her augmented combat visor painting thermal signatures through the walls. Most showed no movement, the dead or the dying. But in the ambassador's chambers, a single heat signature flickered weakly. She found Ixtal sprawled across the marble floor, their crystalline exoskeleton cracked and leaking bioluminescent fluid. The ambassador's four primary eyes focused on Sarah as she entered, their secondary sets scanning constantly for threats. Captain Chen. Ixtal's voice resonated telepathically, weaker than Sarah had ever heard it. You should not have come. The attackers. They are Varkray. Sarah's heart sank. The Varkray were notorious mercenaries, religious zealots who believed that any species seeking to join the Council must first prove their worth through trial by combat. They wouldn't stop until either they or their target were dead. With all due respect, Ambassador, I'm getting you out of here. Sarah knelt beside the injured alien, already assessing the damage. Ixtal's exoskeleton was their life support system as much as their armor. Without it functioning, they wouldn't survive long in Earth-like atmospheres. Impossible. Ixtal pulsed. My systems are too damaged. The atmospheric regulators alone are just machines, Sarah interrupted, pulling off her combat pack. And machines can be fixed. She'd spent 3 years studying Meridian technology as part of her diplomatic security training. While she couldn't repair the exotic crystalline components, the underlying principles weren't so different from human tech. The regulators worked like advanced scuba gear, filtering and processing atmosphere into something Ixtal could breathe. Sarah pulled out her emergency repair kit, a hybrid of military-grade tools and jury-rigged solutions she picked up from colony mechanics. As plasma fire continued to rain outside, she worked with practiced efficiency, bypassing damaged crystal circuits with copper wire, reinforcing cracked segments with quick-setting polymer foam. This is unorthodox, Ixtal observed as Sarah spliced the regulator's power supply into her own suit's backup battery. Welcome to human engineering, Ambassador. Sarah managed a grim smile. It's not pretty, but it works. A massive explosion rocked the building. Closer this time. Sarah's visor lit up with new thermal signatures, a full squad of Varkray, methodically sweeping the corridors. Can you move? She asked, helping Ixtal to their feet. The ambassadors swayed but remained upright, their damaged exoskeleton humming with borrowed power. Thanks to your unconventional repairs, yes. Ixtal's telepathic voice held a note of wonder. Though I confess, I did not expect such ingenuity from a primitive species. Sarah finished, checking her weapon. Yeah, we get that a lot. Now come on, we need to move before. The wall exploded inward in a shower of concrete and plasma fire. Sarah threw herself in front of Ixtal, her shields flaring as they absorbed the impact. Through the breach stepped a Varkray warrior, 3 meters of chidness armor and religious fury. The trial begins, it clicked in broken standard. Face your judgment, pretenders. Sarah's response was a burst of armor-piercing rounds. They sparked off the Varkray's shields, but the attack drove it back long enough for her to pull Ixtal toward the room's second exit. Your combat doctrine is as flawed as your technology. The Varkrai taunted, advancing again. You cannot hope to. Its speech cut off in a surprised screech as the floor beneath its feet suddenly gave way. Sarah had recognized the room's structural supports, or lack thereof, the moment she'd entered. A few well-placed shots had done the rest. Here's another human lesson, she called down to the trapped warrior. We talk less and adapt more. They ran, Sarah half-carrying Ixtal through the burning building. Her jury-rigged repairs held, but the ambassador's strength was failing. They needed to reach the secure bunker beneath the embassy before the rest of the Varkrai caught up. Why? Ixtal pulsed suddenly. Why risk yourself for me? Your orders surely did not require such personal intervention. Sarah didn't break stride as she answered. Because that's what humans do. We don't abandon allies, we don't accept impossible odds, and we definitely don't let religious zealots with superiority complexes decide humanity's place in the galaxy. She felt Ixtal's surprise ripple through their telepathic link. You truly believe you can change what is ordained? Ambassador, Sarah grinned fiercely as they reached the bunker's entrance. Changing the ordained is practically humanity's thesis motto. Broken wings. The secure bunker was a technological marvel, a fusion of human and alien engineering. But right now, it felt like a tomb. Sarah watched as Ixtal's vital signs flickered on her visor's display, each pulse weaker than the last. Her makeshift repairs were failing. Your effort was admirable. Ixtal pulsed, their telepathic voice fading. But without proper crystalline components, my systems cannot sustain. No, Sarah's voice cut through the darkness. We're not done yet. She pulled up the bunker's inventory on a nearby terminal. This facility was designed to house multiple species. There has to be something we can use. The storage units yielded an odd collection of emergency supplies. Human medical equipment, alien tech components, and various atmospheric processors. Nothing specifically designed for Meridian biology, but Sarah's mind was already racing with possibilities. Ambassador, I need you to tell me exactly how your exoskeleton's life support works. Not the official specs, the actual physics behind it. Ixtal's secondary eyes blinked in confusion. Captain, even if I could explain our technology, you lack the necessary. Try me. Sarah was already laying out components, her combat visor scanning and analyzing each piece. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Right now, we're drowning in necessity. Reluctantly, Ixtal began to explain. Their exoskeleton used crystalline matrices to convert atmospheric elements into a breathable compound. The process required precise energy modulation through the crystal lattice, something Sarah's earlier repairs couldn't replicate. But as she listened, Sarah's expression grew increasingly focused. She picked up a human oxygen processor, then a piece of Centaurian filter technology. The principles are similar to our deep-sea breathing apparatus, she muttered. If we combine that with the resonance frequency of these Centaurian crystals, what emerged over the next hours was either genius or madness. Sarah stripped down the oxygen processor, rewiring it through salvaged alien power cells. The Centaurian crystals, while not as efficient as Meridian technology, could be tuned to similar frequencies. She used her visor's scanning system to match the resonance patterns Ixtal described. This is unprecedented, Ixtal observed as Sarah worked. No species has successfully hybridized technologies in this manner. That's because they probably had better options, Sarah grunted, carefully adjusting a crystal's alignment. Humans specialize in making terrible auctions work. Above them, the sounds of battle had faded, replaced by the methodical sweeping of Varkrai search parties. The bunker's shields would hold for now, but Sarah knew they were living on borrowed time. The hybrid life support system looked like something from a mad scientist's workshop. Human electronics meshed with alien crystals, held together with emergency sealant and sheer determination. But when Sarah activated it, the crystals hummed at exactly the right frequency. I cannot guarantee this will work, she warned, carefully connecting it to Ixtal's damaged exoskeleton. But right now, it's the only play we have. The ambassador's 4 primary eyes fixed on her. You would risk my life on this. Improvisation. Ambassador. Sarah met their gaze steadily. I'm risking both our lives on the belief that different species can work together. Isn't that what the council is supposed to be about? For a long moment, Ixtal was silent. Then, proceed, Captain Chen. Let us test your theory. The hybrid system engaged with the whine of human servos and the crystalline chime of alien tech. For one terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then Ixtal's vital signs stabilized. Their bioluminescence brightened, and their exoskeleton began to repair itself using the improvised energy supply. Remarkable. Ixtal pulsed, their telepathic voice stronger. The efficiency is lower than our standard technology, but the adaptation, I have never seen its like. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she checked the connections. Like I said, humans specialize in making things work. We had to. We didn't have the advantages of advanced technology. Everything we achieved, we did through trial and error, innovation, and stubborn refusal to accept limitations. A massive explosion rocked the bunker, sending dust cascading from the ceiling. The Varkray were getting closer. Trust in steel. They're through the outer defenses, Sarah announced, checking the bunker's security feeds. The Varkray were methodically burning through the reinforced doors, their plasma cutters making steady progress. We've got maybe 20 minutes. Ixtal stood straighter, their hybrid life support system humming steadily. Then we must fight. Though I fear even your improvised repairs will not be enough against their superior weaponry. Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. Superior weaponry isn't everything. Sometimes the best technology is the one your enemy doesn't expect. She moved to a weapons locker, pulling out what looked like primitive projectile weapons. These are electromagnetic pulse rifles, old tech, barely used since the Mars colonies. The Varkray won't have shielding against them. Because such weapons are considered obsolete, Ixtal observed. Exactly. Sarah began modifying the rifles, integrating components from her jury-rigged repair kit. The Varkray believe in technological superiority. They won't expect us to go low-tech, and sometimes the old ways work best. The first Varkray breached the bunker's inner chamber exactly 18 minutes later. They came in formation, energy shields blazing, expecting a desperate last stand. Instead, they found darkness. Sarah's modified EMP rifles did their work perfectly. The electromagnetic pulses, amplified by salvaged crystalline components, bypassed the Varkray's advanced shields completely. Their armor systems crashed, leaving them vulnerable to conventional weapons. Impossible. The Varkray commander's voice was thick with rage. You dare use such primitive methods? No, Sarah replied, emerging from cover with Ixtal beside her. We dare to use what works. Her next shot took the commander in the chest, his disabled armor offering no protection. The battle that followed was brutal and efficient. The Varkray, stripped of their technological advantages, fell before the combination of Sarah's tactical expertise and Ixtal's natural abilities. The ambassador, despite their injuries, proved remarkably adept at close-quarter combat. Your species continues to surprise. Ixtal pulsed as the last Varkray fell. You fought not just with strength, but with wisdom. That's because we learned early that being clever is better than being strong. Sarah was already collecting weapons and supplies from the fallen warriors. When you start with nothing, you learn to use everything. A sudden tremor shook the bunker, different from the explosions before. Sarah's visor lit up with new warnings. They're bringing down the whole building. They'll bury us alive. Then we have lost. Ixtal's telepathic voice was resigned. Even with your innovations, we cannot survive being crushed under tons of debris. Sarah's mind raced, analyzing their options. The bunker's structure, the Varkray's position, the salvage technology at their disposal. Maybe we don't have to. She pointed to the fallen Varkray's equipment. Their armor has emergency teleport beacons, short range, meant for battlefield extraction, which are now non-functional due to your electromagnetic weapons, Ixtal pointed out. The circuitry is fried, yes, but the quantum entanglement cores are still intact. Sarah was already stripping components. If we combine them with the power from your hybrid life support, you would risk deactivating the very system keeping me alive. For about 30 seconds, long enough to boost the teleport signal and get us out of here. Sarah met the ambassador's four-eyed gaze. Do you trust me? The building groaned above them. Structural supports failing. Ixtal studied Sarah for a long moment, then nodded. You have proven that humanity's strength lies not in your technology, but in your ability to transcend its limitations. Yes, Captain Chen, I trust you. Sarah worked with desperate speed, connecting the quantum cores to Ixtal's life support system. The physics involved were beyond her understanding, but she knew enough about power distribution and signal boosting to make it work. It had to work. The ceiling began to collapse as she finished the final connections. Now or never, she muttered, activating the hybrid device. Ixtal's life support flickered, and the quantum cores blazed with energy. The last thing Sarah saw before the teleport effect took hold was tons of concrete and steel rushing down toward them. They materialized a kilometer away, amid the ruins of New Geneva. Ixtal swayed but remained standing as Sarah quickly reconnected their life support. The ambassador's secondary eyes watched the embassy collapse in on itself. They will come looking for us, Ixtal warned. Sarah checked her modified EMP rifle and grinned. Let them come. We've got Ingenuity on our side. Blood and honor. Through the ruins of New Geneva, Sarah and Ixtal moved like shadows. The modified life support system hummed quietly, its hybrid human-alien technology functioning better than either of them had expected. But they weren't out of danger yet. There is something you should know. Ixtal pulsed as they took cover in an abandoned transit station. The attack on the Peace Summit, it was not merely a Varkray religious crusade. Sarah paused in her scanning of the perimeter. What do you mean? The Varkray are mercenaries. Someone hired them. Someone who knew exactly when and where to strike. Ixtal's secondary eyes flickered with distress. Someone with access to Council security protocols. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. An inside job. Someone in the Council doesn't want humanity joining their ranks. There are factions within the Council who believe emerging species should be contained, not embraced. Ixtal's telepathic voice carried undertones of shame. They fear humanity's potential, your adaptability, your innovation. They see it as a threat to the established order. Sarah's jaw tightened. So this whole trial by combat wasn't just religious zealotry. It was a calculated move to keep humanity isolated. Yes, and my death would have served as the perfect excuse to delay human admission for decades. Ixtal straightened. But they did not account for your species' remarkable capacity for survival, or for my witnessing firsthand the truth of humanity's worth. A sudden explosion lit up the night sky. More Varkray ships were entering the atmosphere, their engines burning bright against the stars. But these were different, larger, better armed. Command ships. They're escalating, Sarah muttered, checking her modified weapons. Whoever hired them must be getting desperate. The Council's emergency session begins in 6 hours, Ixtal revealed. If I do not testify about this attack, the anti-human factions will push through legislation blocking Earth's admission. Sarah's mind raced through options. They needed to get off-planet, but the spaceport was under Varkray control. Their makeshift teleporter was burned out, and Ixtal's hybrid life support wouldn't last forever. Then she spotted something through her visor's enhanced vision. A familiar shape half buried in rubble. Is that what I think it is? She moved closer, hope rising. A Meridian diplomatic shuttle. Damaged in the initial attack, Ixtal confirmed. Its quantum drive is likely intact, but the control systems are probably fried, Sarah finished. But we don't need the original controls. She was already pulling components from her kit. Your exoskeleton interfaces directly with Meridian tech, right? And we've already proven human and alien systems can work together. Understanding dawned in Ixtal's 4 primary eyes. You intend to create a hybrid control system. Connect my damaged exoskeleton to the shuttle's quantum drive. Why not? We've already broken every other rule of xenotechnology today. Sarah grinned. Unless you're worried about violating more council protocols. I believe, Captain Chen, that we are well past such concerns. Ixtal's telepathic voice held a note of what might have been amusement. Though I must warn you, if this fails, the quantum surge will likely kill us both. Then it won't fail. Sarah began salvaging components from the shuttle. Because humanity hasn't come this far to be stopped by bureaucrats and zealots who fear change. We're going to make it to that council session, Ambassador. And we're going to show the galaxy exactly what happens when they try to cage the human spirit. Rising together. The Meridian shuttle's quantum drive hummed with unstable energy as Sarah completed the final connections. Her hybrid control system was a maze of human and alien technology, each component pushed far beyond its intended limits. Ixtal stood connected to the makeshift interface, their damaged exoskeleton now serving as both life support and neural link to the ship's systems. Multiple Varkray vessels approaching, Sarah reported, checking her visor's tactical display. We've got maybe 2 minutes before they're in weapons range. The neural interface is unusual, Ixtal pulsed. I can feel the shuttle's systems, but they're filtered through your human technology. It's like trying to sing underwater. Just focus on getting us to orbit. I'll handle our friends outside. Sarah moved to the shuttle's defense station, where she'd installed her modified EMP weapons. The Varkray wouldn't expect a diplomatic vessel to be armed, much less with primitive human weapons. The first shots came as they lifted off. Plasma fire lit up the night sky, but Ixtal's neural control proved remarkably precise. The shuttle danced between energy beams, its movement organic and unpredictable. Quantum drive at 60%, Ixtal reported, but the power fluctuations are increasing. The hybrid systems cannot maintain stability for long. Sarah triggered her EMP array, sending pulses of electromagnetic energy into the pursuing Varkray ships. 2 smaller vessels dropped immediately, their systems overloaded. But the command ships pressed on, apparently shielded against such attacks. They adapted, Sarah muttered. Time for Plan B. She began rerouting power from non-essential systems, feeding it into the quantum drive. How close to the council station can you get us before this thing blows? You intend to overload the drive deliberately. Ixtal's telepathic voice held equal parts alarm and admiration. The energy release would be catastrophic. For anyone caught in it, yes. But if we time it right. Sarah's fingers flew over the controls, making final adjustments. Think you can get us into their formation? Understanding dawned in Ixtal's 4 primary eyes. Ah, we become the bait in our own trap. Most cunning, Captain. The shuttle rocketed upward, seemingly making a desperate break for orbit. The Varkray command ships moved to intercept, their superior weapons charging for a killing blow. At the last possible moment, Ixtal executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, spinning the shuttle in a tight spiral directly through the enemy formation. Now, Sarah slammed the final sequence. The quantum drive detonated in a controlled overload, releasing a wave of energy that overwhelmed the Varkray ship shields. As their systems crashed, Sarah's remaining EMP weapons finished the job. The shuttle, running on emergency power, limped the rest of the way to the council station. They docked with minutes to spare before the emergency session. The council will not be able to ignore this, Ixtal said as they made their way to the chamber. Not only the attack itself, but the evidence of who orchestrated it. And more importantly, the ambassador turned all 4 primary eyes to Sarah. They cannot ignore what humanity has proven today. That we can break all their rules about technology, Sarah asked with a wry smile. That you can transcend them, Ixtal corrected. My people have used crystalline technology for 10,000 years, perfecting it, but never imagining it could work in harmony with other systems. The Varkrai worship technological superiority, but cannot adapt when their advantages fail. But humans, you take what works, discard what doesn't, and create something entirely new from the pieces. They reached the council chamber doors. Inside, representatives from 100 species waited to decide humanity's fate. Sarah straightened her battered uniform. Ready to show them what real innovation looks like, Ambassador. Ixtal's bioluminescence pulsed with what was definitely amusement. I believe, Captain Chen, that you already have. The question now is whether they are ready to accept it. The doors opened, and together, human and alien, their hybrid technology a testament to cooperation and ingenuity. They stepped forward to change the galaxy's future.